Hello, beautiful souls. Today's soul lesson is all about self-love. I've been talking about this a lot with my clients and it comes up a lot, and I just felt called to really share it with you now. So there is a lot to self-love, and I really just want to bring it back down to the foundation and simplify it and give you some practical ways to just start really increasing and expanding into your self-love now. So this is really, really powerful. So self-love is the foundation of our lives. So that is where confidence, abundance, creativity, positive relationships, everything comes from our self-love well. And basically, the way we see ourselves is the way the world will see us. The way we treat ourselves is the way the world will treat us. So this is huge. It's absolutely huge. The way you see yourself is how you will be seen. The way you treat yourself is how you will be treated. So it really brings back the responsibility to ourselves to actually take care of ourselves and to take our self-care seriously. It's not just a luxury or something to do when we have time. It's not something that only selfish women do. These are all the things I've heard from women, and I used to believe some of these lies too. The old me really used to think there was no time for me, and I needed to people please, and in order to be perfect, I needed to be doing everything for everybody else on the surface, even though I was literally starving my self-love well on the inside. But the new me knows the importance of this, because I know that if I'm not full and overflowing with love and energy, then I have nothing to give. I have nothing to share. And I'm giving from reserves and an empty well, and that leads to resentment, overwhelm, stress, women who just look depleted and deprived of like nutrients and love and sustenance and soul nourishment. These women are just walking around like feeling like, why does nobody love me? Why does no one accept me? Why aren't I good enough? And the key is that we have to believe that for ourselves first. We cannot expect anybody on the outside to give us the self-love, the self-acceptance that we are craving. It has to come from us first, and then we can receive it from the world as like a bonus, as the icing on the cake. But the actual cake, the batter, is our self-love for ourselves, and we have to make that recipe. We have to make that part of the cake. And a lot of women are really waiting for that to happen on the outside, and it just doesn't happen. Or if it does, it doesn't fulfill us, and that's because it must come from the inside. So it's just so important. It's so powerful, and I'm going to share quite a bit on it today. But I really encourage you to just fully lean into this as much as you possibly can, and because it affects everything in your life. Basically, if your self-love foundation is not solid and you haven't filled in those cracks with more love, then everything else is just going to fall apart. You cannot build a loving relationship on a foundation that isn't full of self-love, and or a life, because you will end up self-sabotaging. And this is what happens. This is why the criticism, the sabotage all comes in, the critical thinking, the judgment, all of that, because the self-love well is empty. So number one, we've got to fill that self-love well. And ironically, as the name says, it comes from the self. It is our relationship with ourself that builds our self-love, not our relationship with the other. And it's amazing how many of us are doing it from the outside in. So self-love starts with you. It begins with your relationship with yourself. So I've written down some powerful questions I'd really like you to lean into, and I feel like you would get a lot of value from in building this relationship. So what does self-love mean to you? What does it actually mean to you? Do you have some hang-ups that it's selfish or vain, or get them out? The sooner we can call the BS out, that, the old stories, the limiting beliefs, the quicker we can move through it. So call that out, write it down. Is it a positive relationship or a negative relationship that you have with self-love? Is it serving you? Is it, if your relationship with self-love is positive, it will be bringing more self-love into your life. It'll be attracting more love. If it's negative, it will be repelling love. So the next question is, where are you withholding love from yourself? And then naturally what happens, you withhold it from the people around you. So whenever we withhold love from ourselves, it automatically happens that we will do the same everywhere else, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So where are you withholding love from yourself, and why? Why don't you feel that that part of you deserves love? What is that story? What is that belief holding you back? What is that story you're telling yourself? Like that, maybe it's something I hear a lot from women, if I looked this way, then I would love myself. If I had that thing, then I would love myself. If I had a partner, then I would know I was worthy of love. But the ironic thing is, we cannot get what we don't already have in ourselves. So we will never attract positive relationships if we don't have a positive relationship with love within ourselves. That's just the truth. So it's vital that we bring it back to ourselves and that we build on this relationship. It's so important. And the next question was, how can you start showing yourself more love right now? So, write down just a few examples. I call it soul nourishment. In my Facebook group, I get the women to go through a challenge where they increase their soul nourishment. And it's another layer of self-love. And it's as deep as you can go. So, in the beginning, I know when I first started my journey, it was so hard to show myself self-love, especially after becoming a mum. It was just like, whoa, like there was just so much to do. Like, how can I find time? And I had a million excuses to not show myself love. But I realized that if I kept making excuses for not showing myself love, that if I was doing it for myself, then I was also doing it to my children, my husband, and everybody I cared about. So that really helped me to snap out of it and stop making excuses for not showing myself love. And that's what I started to do. So, for me, initially it was like making time to lay in the sun, paint my nails, read a book, have a hot coffee. I'm sure the mums can relate. You don't always get to have your tea or coffee hot. Loving myself enough to give myself those little gifts. And it really helped to fill my cup. So make a little list. What can you do to start to show yourself more love right now? And make them achievable, because you want to actually do this. Don't make it so hard and that it has to happen in the future. You've got to book into a day spa. You can do that 100%. But start today. What can you do today to bring more self-love into your life? Because you deserve it now. You don't have to do anything to deserve self-love. You just decide to give it to yourself. That's it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the house all cleaned. You don't have to have all the lists done, the to-do lists, the jobs. There's nothing to prove. Self-love is just something that you decide to give to yourself because you know that you are worthy of love. And that woman that knows she's worthy of love attracts more love, attracts more reasons to feel loved. Whereas the woman who deprives herself of love attracts more reasons to not receive that love, to literally repel it and withhold it from herself and everyone in her life. So it is so important that you get into the vibration of self-love and you start to be that and give yourself that gift. It's so, so important. It's beautiful, it's powerful, and it's so important. Now, I have a few rules around self-love that really help me, especially in the beginning, but I still use them now. So my number one rule is I must be able to give it to myself. So whenever we are trying to get self-love from external validation, appraisal, approval, pleasing, making somebody else happy, someone else thinking we're worthy or accepting us or feeling like we're fitting in or belonging, these are unhealthy ways to build self-love. This self-love muscle I'm talking about is literally inside of you. It is your connection to your heart, your soul, your essence as a woman, and what makes you who you are. It cannot come from the outside. If you try and do it from the outside, you will be disappointed because it can be taken away. And this is where the yo-yo, high and low kind of emotional roller coaster happens for a lot of women, and it feeds their not enoughness and not loved. And they're the two biggest fears that everything kind of comes down to. And when you're putting the responsibility and the job of your self-love in somebody else's hands, that is dangerous, and it can be taken away, and it doesn't last, and it runs out. And this is what creates this cycle of like feeling really good and then literally falling off the cliff. And it doesn't have to be like that. So my number one rule is your self-love must come from inside of yourself. You must be able to give it to yourself. You must be able to praise yourself, validate yourself, appreciate yourself, regardless of what someone else thinks of you out there, regardless of if they're going to notice that you've had your hair done or notice that you've put in effort. It's not for anybody on the outside. It's not for anything on the outside. It is for you and your relationship with yourself. So this is so important that you understand that. It must come from you. It's called self-love for a reason. It's our relationship with ourselves, okay? My second rule is I never criticize myself. And I know this is really, really hard for women, but my second rule, and there's no room for, just a little bit of criticism at all. I do not criticize myself. So as soon as my ego starts to do that, I completely interrupt it. I say cancel, clear, delete. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for loving myself, and I know the more that I love myself, the more love I'll receive, the more love I'll be able to give. That's my responsibility to myself and to my soul, to be loving to myself. And anytime the critical thoughts come in, I see them and I send them more love. I don't beat myself up about it. I definitely do not make myself feel guilty, because guilt, shame, blame, beating ourselves up, that literally is the opposite of self-love. So if a woman that really loves themselves doesn't get in that cycle of blame, shame, guilt, drama, and just negative criticism about themselves, because they know it's not self-love. And when you're committed to your own self-love journey, you really see that and you interrupt those patterns. I am not perfect. Nobody is, and that's not the goal, but I am authentic. I'm authentically committed to my soul's authentic truth and my authentic self-love for myself. So I definitely, anytime a negative thought comes in, I replace it with one that is loving. And I say, okay, I can see that, but the truth is I love myself and I know that my best is enough. And I bring that forward, rather than whatever that negative thing was that I was saying, whether I wasn't enough or not worthy of love. I know that I'm worthy because that is my birthright, because I know that I am love. I came from love. So I'm automatically worthy of love. That's true for everybody. And, I really believe that we get what we are, not what we want. So if I want more love in my life and things that represent love, then I need to be that representation of love in myself. So it's just so important for me, and I'm so committed to it, and then I receive more love. That's just how it goes. So that's my number 2 rule, and I really invite you to lean into that too. How can you literally just make a decision now, not in the future, not when you have the thing, not when your hair's perfect, not when the house is all clean, not when everything is perfect, because it's just not going to happen. How can you now, in this moment, commit to number 2, never criticizing yourself again? And if you do, interrupting that pattern and just saying, no, that's not the truth of who I am. I'm here for love. I'm made from love. I'm worthy for love. And I love myself, regardless of what my ego is going to say or anyone on the outside is going to say. So it is just vital that you interrupt that negative thought, those critical stories that are just not true. They're all illusions. So we can either create illusions that literally starve us of self-love, or we can create illusions that fill us and nourish us with self-love. And that's what we want to be doing. We want to be feeding those stories and those beliefs. And, I always say to women, my third self-love tool that I want to share with you today is my self-love affirmations. So I say to women when they look in the mirror, get general about the things you don't like and hyper focus and amplify the things that you do love. And then that's what you'll see when you look in the mirror. It's amazing how we can literally create these illusions and see what we want to see. And we have that power within us. So, every morning I sing, I dance, I get in my body, and I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for everything that makes me a woman. And I really sink into my heart. And there's these self-love affirmations that I say to myself that help me anchor into this place of I'm worthy of self-love. I am self-love. And the more self-love I give myself, the more love I'll receive. And that's the world and the vibration and the energy that I want to live in. And so that's what I invite in every single morning. And I share these self-love affirmations with my clients. And I give it as a free gift because honestly, I just want more women to love themselves. I really think that's the key to shifting the world into the direction of love, is more women walking around loving themselves, feeling confident from the inside out, knowing that they are deserving and worthy of love. And when we give that gift to ourselves, we give that gift to our sisters. And it's just so beautiful to be giving permission for everybody to feel loved. I don't feel that if I'm loving myself, then you can't love yourself, or there's only so much to love to go around, or none of that happens when you're in the vibration of self-love. You've risen your standards. You've risen to the bar, and there's infinite possibilities and an infinite amount of love available. It's when you're in that space of your heart and your soul, you know that love can't run out. It's limitless and it's endless. When you're in fear and you're in the mind and you're in ego, you think that, there can only be this many pretty girls in the world, or because she's got this, I can't have that. It's just not true. It's literally not true. And if you're thinking in that vibration, you're in ego, you're in mind, you are not in your body, you are not in your heart, and your relationship with self-love is most likely extremely bad. Very poor, very negative, and not serving you and not serving your life. You're literally, if you do not love yourself, you are literally starving yourself of love. If you do that to a baby, when a baby is growing, it will die. And that's what's happening to women. Women are literally starving and dying from a lack of love from the inside out. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because it's unnecessary. It doesn't need to happen. And women can just give that gift to themselves now. And that's really what I want you to do for you. So if you like the sound of my self-love affirmations, let me know. Drop a heart below, send me a DM, and I will see if I can even put it in the comments for you, because I honestly just really, really, really want you to love yourself. I cannot stress this enough, how important it is that you love yourself. It's the key and to everything. If you can unlock that door, so many things are possible for you and your relationships and your life. And it's the foundation of your life. Self-love is the foundation of your life. It is your number one responsibility. Your number one job is to love yourself. The only other thing I want to say is, if you are loving this and you want more feedback, you want more positivity, then join my sisterhood, the Soul Nourishing Sisterhood. It's a free Facebook group, and everybody's welcome. There's no judgment there. It's all love. It's all positivity. And I do videos like this all the time. I'm sharing value all the time because I want my sisters to really feel nourished, full, and loved. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed and life is just getting on top of you, you're stretched, there's no time for you, then you need to get into the sisterhood, because you are going to find what you need right now. You're going to start to nourish your soul, love yourself from the inside out, and just get everything that you need and deserve now. So come and join us, and I'm sending so much love. Mwah!